Tuesday. Happy Taco Tuesday. Yes, sir. All right. Give me a second. Let me make sure that this is we are live and not propagating. There we go. Yes, sir. We are live on the YouTubes, the YobeTubes. Let's take a look and see where else we are live. Are we live on the X? Yes, we are. Audio's working. All right, perfect. Let's check and make sure we are live on the Twitch. Are we live on the Twitch? Oh, let's make sure the glitch is fixed on the YobeTubes. There we go. Bop right there. Boom. Beautiful. All right. Yes, sir. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're just getting ourselves all set up here. We're live on the Twitch. Yes, we are live on the Twitch. Yes. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's been crazy outside. Yesterday it was 84 degrees. Now it's 55. I don't know, man. The weather got make up your mind. The weather gotta make up its mind. How you guys doing though? How's the weather over where you guys are at? Put it in the chat. All right, put it in the chat. Let me know. Let me know. All right, so we are live right now doing our thing. All right. Making sure everything's all copacetic over here. Bop right there. Bop right there. Great. Good. All right. Goody. PAVS looks like it's moving its way on up right now. Oh, yes. New bagger. Already. Wow. Bobo Beebs. He says, howdy, Bobo. Hearing you, Lima Charlie. Yes, sir. Copy that. Bobo, thank you very much. Wow, already a bagger. PAVS. 112%. I just stepped up into the building. All of a sudden, things running parabolic. Yes, sir. We called PAVS in the Discord. Called it early in the morning. Yes, PAVS. Yes, sir. PAVS ran up 112%. We called that on our private Discord. We called it on our private Discord before its parabolic run. Yes, sir. Yes. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. One second. Yes, sir. All right. Yes, sir. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we called it prior to its run up 112%. And we spotted on our private Discord before that parabolic run. So yeah, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for a lovely yesh. See us live and in living color as we show off our methods there. You get the access to the scanner, all sorts of cool stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. All right. Woo! Look at that. Ran up a nice 112% right there. Bada binga. All right. Woo! Legal says, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Woo! That's what we do. That's what we do out here. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Just making sure the stream is all live and stuff like that. Good. Beautiful. All right. Let's see. Yes, sir. All right. Wonderful. But yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, we are having a great day today. It's a good morning. You know what it is? It's a good morning. I'm just getting everything all set up and ready to go. Just getting everything all set up and ready to go right here. All right. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, sir. All right. Night Road, good morning. Good morning. He said, good morning, Devils. Banked on PAVS today. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that, brother. I'm glad to hear it. That's awesome. That's great. That's great news. Hope you made a whole lot of money. There we go. All right. Let's get everything all set up. All the announcements everywhere. Bop right there. Boom. All right. Just getting all the announcements out. Well, what'd you guys think yesterday of Power Plays, man? What'd you guys think? I like that new thumbnail, that little thumbnail right there. One with Coach driving the battle bus. I thought that was pretty sick. I liked it, you know? That was a pretty cool thumbnail. Had the little what's it called there? The had the wonderful the awesome thing. Orbiter, thank you for reposting the stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love. Thank you for the share party. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, sir. All right. Woo. Ooh. All right. Just getting everything all set up over here. Getting all the announcements out. Ooh. PAVS now hitting 113. Bobo Beef says was also able to snipe a little PAVS early this morning. Congratulations, Bobo. I hope you made a lot of money. Money, 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 money. Money. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the weather been weird outside, man. It went from 84 degrees and nice and sunny and warm to now it's sunny, but it's like 55. Wow. It's a little it's a little sporadic, you know what I mean? A little sporadic, a little sporadification there. All right. But yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir, yes, sir. All right. So, that's what we got going on. Let's just get everything all shared up and ready to go. Bop right there. Like everything up, by the way, on the YouTubes, ladies and gentlemen. Like it up, like it up, like it up. Yes, sir. Like it up, share it up. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Real Deal Properties says, hi, doubles. Money, 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 money. Money. Yes. That's what we got going on right there. That's what I like to see. Yes, sir. Let's get it. Hold on, just getting everything all set up, ready to share. Just sharing everything up here. Bop right there. All right. There we go. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get a share party, share party, share party. All right. Get that going on over there. What's that? What's that? All right. Hold on. There we go. All right. Wonderful. All right. Got that going on right there. Beautiful. All right. All right. We got it all shared up and ready to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this intro started. What's up, guys? It's Double Nicks, and welcome to another episode of Microcap Mornings. I am your host with the most. They call me DBL Nicks in the house, aka the Rainmaker. And I'm here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Other times she likes to regular ski. Other times she likes to get shot out the cannon and she goes, wee! Other times maybe she'll go to Arby's, or sometimes she'll go to Wendy's. Other times she'll go to Mickey D's. Other times she'll go to Burger King. Other times, she'll go anywhere else that ends with an E. All right. And of course, she will sometimes pop off and go to Five Guys Burgers and Fries. And she'll party and watch videos of puppies and kitties. We call her DBM Moms. Hey! All right, and that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. So, before we begin, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comments section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different. And the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. The early bird gets the cash. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. And we got lots of birds. Yes, sir. Early bird gets the cash. All right. Just getting everything all put up over here. Bop. Right there. Boom. Okay. Beautiful. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. So, right now we're taking a look at our stocks right here. We called PAVS earlier in the morning. Early in the morning, it shot up to a nice 113%. I saw it in the corner of my eye, just turned to 113 over here. Has a bit of support and resistance. Now it's up 119% and climbing. Let's get some support and resistance lines right over here. Bop, right there. All right, we got support at the 61-cent mark, resistance at 66 cents. Up, hit a high of 119% right now. Hit a high of 119%. PAVS hit a high of 119%. Boom, baby. We called it. Woo! Called it for you, ladies. Called it right there, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? Called it right there. Boom. All right. All right. Woo. Woo. All right. Hit a high of 119, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 200. Let's get that share party going on. We got PAVS has a float of 4 million, volume of 93 million, so it's got plenty of volume to go around right there. Price is 65 cents. Hit a high of 66 cents, ladies and gentlemen. Has to break above that 66-cent mark and break above that and hold above that 61-cent mark right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. All right. They have a slight bit of resistance right over here at the 62-cent mark right here, but has since broken through that, so we should be good right there. Has to hold above 62 cents, has to hold above 61 cents, and has to break above 66 cents right there. So PAVS as of now has to break above, is very much so above the VWAP right now, leaning a bit towards being overbought on the RSI, but nothing crazy right now. All right, so PAVS, all right, needs to break the high of day at 66 cents, which is the new high of day right there, for it to become somewhat schmexy to meow. Looks like it's slowly but surely climbing its way back up there, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it's doing right now. That is what it's doing right now. So we'll see what happens with it, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens with it right now. All right, let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 200. Let's take a look at some other stocks here. Let's take a look at YMT. YMT in the meantime. All right, so YMT up 21%. right now doesn't really have much going on here. Let's take a look over here. Bop right there. Had a bit of a shot upward going on there. Pulled back a little bit and then proceeded to curl its way on up. And then proceeded to curl its way back downward over here and form a bit of a descending wedge right there. Needs to break above the VWAP over here at 42 cents for it to really be somewhat schmexy to mya. But as of now, the stock really just needs to break above the descending wedge right now and then the VWAP. So that's what they got going on. YMT needs to break above the VWAPA and the descending wedge. Boom. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. All right. Let's see what we got. Marty, good morning. He says, hi, Doubles. Can you do RAYA? Certainly, man. Certainly. Let's do it. Let's do it. RAYA. Let's get it done. Okay. So RAYA, ERIAC Power Solution Group, Inc., Class A ordinary shares. This is down 33% as of now, ladies and gentlemen. So RAYA as of now down 33%. Let's take a look at the float. Float is 3 million, 3.5 million, call it 4 million. Volume is 16 million and change. So we got that going on right there. So the volume is higher than the float. That's good. However, the stock is moving down as of now. So that means that most of the volume is probably bearish volume. But let's take a look over here and see what we got going on. RAYA has some news that came out on the 24th, which is today, that ERIAC pivots to high-capacity AI power solutions and advances UPS platforms and new manufacturing facility. And to top it off, yeah, I mean, their power solution strategic update is that they are accelerating those high-capacity UPS integrated platforms to support AI-driven energy demand. They also had news on the 18th that they filed a Form 6 and a Form 424B5. Form 6 is basically like a Form 8, only foreign, so you got that going on right there. They filed a Form 424B5, which is a file pursuant to Rule 424B5 from the SEC, registration number 333278347. That's what they got going on right there. But they also have some other Form 424B5s going on here. But they also came out just now with some news. Just now. Literally just now. ERIAC Power Solution Group shares are trading higher, or actually lower, after the company announced a strategic pivot to address the growing energy gap created by the North American AI infrastructure boom through integrated uninterruptible power supply functionality and expanded manufacturing capabilities. So as of now, RAYA is currently trading lower after they announced that pivot. So that's what they got going on right there. It's currently moving downward, down 32% as of now. Had a bit of a double top here earlier. Give me 1 second. Let me actually just make this invisible for a little bit so I can get everything all straight up over here. Bop, right there. All right. So let's get this big old Baba Ganoush graffiti pencil right over here. Bop, right there. So as of now, it's on a bit of a downtrend. If you really want to be enthusiastic, maybe you could say it's a potential descending wedge. But as of now, it's on a bit of a downtrend right now. It needs to break above the VWAP right over here at 75 cents for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. So that's really what it's got to do right there. Has to break above the downtrend and has to break above this VWAP right over here for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Down 32% right now. So it's got that going on. Yeesh. It does have the volume for it. It just needs to curl. All right. It was a bit overbought on the RSI, so it's got that going on as well. It has that going on. It is leaning a bit more towards being oversold on the RSI, so we got that going on as well. So could it potentially curl? Maybe, but it does need a lot more volume than what it's got going on. And by volume, I mean bullish volume, not bearish volume. All right. So we got that going on right there. Raya needs to break above the downtrend and the VWAPA. So that's what they got going on right there. That is what they got going on right there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get to 200, 200, 200, 200. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's take a look and see what else we got going on here. All right. Let's take a look at UGRO, UGRO. As of now with UGRO, Had a bit of a move up over here, moved up a little bit, bop right there, came over here, and then kind of formed a bit of a pennant right over here. Has to break this little double top here as well at the $8.15 mark right there. So it's got a little bit of resistance there as well. Has to break the VWAP at 818 and has to just break this pennant in general. So it needs to do all that for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. So UGRO needs to break the resistance at 815, the VWAPA, and the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. Not overbought or oversold in the RSI. Let's continue. FEED, see how it's doing. FEED has some news that InView medical shares are trading higher after the company announced a purchase of InView navigation platform and feeding tubes by a premier teaching hospital and level 1 trauma center in Michigan, bringing the company's total U.S. footprint to 39 hospitals. Has some unconfirmed Q4 earnings as well in 13 days on Monday, April 6th during market hours. So they got that going on, up 35% right now. So they got that going on right there. That is what they got going on right there. It needs to break this pennant right here for it to really be schmexy to mya. Has to break above the pennant and the VWAP for it to be schmexy to mya. So FEED needs to break the pennant and the VWAPA for it to be schmexy to mya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see here. Let's see what we got going on. What we got going on right there. All right, let's get a share party going. Let's get to 300. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on. All right. Anna. Let's see how Anna's doing. Is moving upward right now, up 34%. Has some unconfirmed Q4 earnings due in 13 days from now on Monday, April 6th, before the market open. So they got that going on right there. Do they have any news going on as to why they're going up? No, it says that it's falling on Monday, but and it stems from profit taking following a massive Friday rally, but that was on Monday. As of now, it's curling its way back up right now. So that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. All right. So that's what we got going on. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any requests, put them in the chat. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Put it in the chat. Let's get it started over here. All right, so ANNA on the uptrend as of now. On the uptrend, just above the VWAP right now. A little bit overbought on the RSI. That's all right. It is what it is. Let's take a look over here. Has a 4 million float, 3 million volume. ANNA moving up on low volume right there. Needs more volume. Needs to remain friends with the trend and needs more volume. So needs to remain friends with the trend and more volume to keep going up. Right there. That's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. Bop right there. Let's get a share party going on. 300, ladies and gentlemen. 300. All right. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see what else we got here. UGRO. How's UGRO doing? How's it holding up? UGRO. How's it holding up? Still has to break above that pennant right there. Still has to break the pennant right there. UGRO still has to break that resistance, the VWAP and the pennant right there. UGRO still needs to break the resistance line. Yes, good, yes. All right, let's take a look at ELAB. How's ELAB doing? ELAB has a 541,000 float, 13 million volume. So they do have the volume, but they are below the VWAP. So they got that going on right there. That is what they got going on right there. All right, has a bit of a shot upward over here. Little bit of a pennant right over here. Needs to break the pennant and needs to break the VWAP. Has some unconfirmed Q4 earnings due in 13 days from now on Monday, April 6th. before the market opens. So they got that going on as well. That is what they got going on right there. All right. ELAB has the volume for it. It has the volume. It has a 541,000 float, 13 million volume. So it has the volume. Just needs to break above the pennant and the VWAP right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. ELAB needs to break the pennant and the VWAP. There we go. For it to become somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. Woo! All right. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 400, 400, 400, 400. All right. All right. Alex says, A, I might I called it out this morning at 545. Some more insider purchasing, I believe. Same as BIAF last week. Got into 583, and I'm now cooking and Anna moving. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Alex, we're going to take a look at Anna again, just for you, brother. ANNA. All right, has a 4 million float, 4 million volume. The float and the volume have come to meet. Still needs to remain on that uptrend for it to be somewhat schmexy to nya. Needs to stay above the uptrend right there, ladies and gentlemen. Needs to stay above that uptrend for it to be somewhat schmexy to nya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hold on. Let me get a drink of this orange juice real quick. Ooh! That's that stuff right there. Ooh. Ooh, that's that good stuff. Oh, yeah. All right, so ANNA, pulling back a little bit. Still friends with the trend and needs to remain that way. To remain somewhat schmexy to mya. All right. Needs to remain somewhat schmexy to mya. That's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Boom. Right there. Woo. All right. There we are. There we are. Yes, sir. All right. So let's see about YMT. YMT. Marty says, good morning, Alex. Yes, sir. There you go. All right. YMT. All right. YMT needs to break above that descending wedge still, and still needs to break above the VWAP. Still needs to break above that VWAP and the descending wedge right there for it to be schmexy to mya. Still needs to break above the VWAP and the descending wedge. So yes, YMT still needs to break above the VWAP and the descending wedge right there. That's what we got going on, folks. That's what we got going on. Ladies and gentlemen, if you got any requests, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Let me see what you got there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. All right. Alex Martinez says, check out the double bottom at 545 before a bunch of big orders came in. For which stock? You mean ANNA? Yeah. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see right there. ANNA. ANNA. Yeah. There we go. I mean, it's on the uptrend right now, brother. It's on the uptrend. Did have, oh, I guess you could sort of say this might have been a double bottom. Maybe at the 565 mark before it shot up like a rocket. Now it just needs to stay above there. All right. Alex says, morning money, Marty. I like that. I like that, Marty. I like that nickname for you. Money Marty. All right. Needs to break above this pennant, though. ANNA needs to break above this pennant and remain friends with the trend right there. ANNA needs to break above the pennant and stay above the VWAP for it to become schmexy to mya, but it looks like it's pulling back a little bit. Has to stay above that VWAP at 675 and has to break above that pennant right there for it to really be schmexy to mya. There we go. FEED, FEED. All right, testing the high of the pennant right there. And View Medical shares are trading higher. after the company announced the purchase of NView navigation platform and feeding tubes by a premier teaching hospital and level 1 trauma center in Michigan, bringing the company's total U.S. footprint to 39 hospitals. It is now testing the pennant right now. Testing that pennant right there. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get a share party going as we look into this right here. All right. Bot right there. Beautiful. Has support at 199, resistance at 222 right there. That's what it's got going on. It's testing that resistance right now. Feed has broken above the pennant and is breaking above the high of day right now. Broke above that high of day now, 223. FEED broke above the pennant. Broke and the high of day. New high of day at 227, I believe. There we go. Yes, sir. 227. New high of day at 227. Up 53% right there. 53%. That's what we got going on for FEED. FEED. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 400. 400, 400, 400. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, all right, all right. Woo. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. What else we got going on? Let me add them. Let me add them. FEED pulled back a little bit. Feed pulled back a little bit because it was moving towards becoming a little bit extended. We'll see what goes on there. RSI and the not the RSI, the 9 EMA and the VWAP are currently intersecting right now. They're kind of intersecting and intertwining a little bit. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's take a look at ANNA, see how it's doing. Let's take a look at ANNA. And let's see. All right, so as of now, ANNA looks like it's trying to curl above the VWAP right there. Looks like it's trying to curl above that little VWAP, forming a little bit of a double bottom over here. Little bit, which is a good sign. Has to hold above 684 and has to hold above 677. Has to break through that pennant. Has to break above that pennant right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. So ANNA curling up slightly, still needs to break that pennant right there for it to really be schmexy to me. ANNA curling up slightly, needs to break above the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. All right, that's what we got going on. That is what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 500, 500, 500, 500. All right. Let's see what else we got. What else we got going on today? What else we got, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's take a look over here. Let's get a look at some of the requests we got going on. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So somebody requested ACXP. ACXP. Let's see what we got going on. ACXP, very choppy. A lot of choppiness right here. It's Chop City. Chop City. Chop City. And more Chop City down here. So as of now, that's what we got going on right there. Even more Chop City right there. ACXP up 3%, but is very, very choppy. Needs volume for it to be so much maxi tumya. ACXP needs volume. Chop City. All right, Chop City right there. You don't want Chop City. You want Parabolic Park, and you want Bagger Boulevard. That's what you want. Bagation Boulevard. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. That's what you want right there. That is what we want right there. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 500. 500, 500, 500. All right. Let's see what we got going on over here. Let's see. All right. So let's take a look. Let's take a look back at, let's see. FEED. Let's take a look at FEED again. FEED. FEED. Hold on. Let me get the refresh. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So FEED forming a bit of a double top. Little bit of a double top right over here at 214. forming a bit of a double top at 214 right there. So we got that going on as well. We got that going on. FEED. Double top at. It needs to break. It needs to break. To break the resistance at. What was it? 214 right there. 214, I'd say. Has to break above the 214 line. 214 has to break above resistance at 214. It broke above the pennant, but it needs to break that resistance at 214 for it to really be schmexy to meow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see what we got going on there. Bop, right there. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 600. 600, 600, 600. All right, all right, all right. Alex says, I've been also playing UGRO. Made some amazing, amazing money on it last night. Excellent. That's awesome, brother. Also, good morning, doubles. And coach, I hope your coffee is hot and your juice is fresh. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, Alex. Much love, man. Much love. I hope your coffee is hot and your juice is fresh as well, brother. Whichever one you drink. I'm guessing you drink coffee, but if you're a juice man like me, I hope your juice is fresh too. Fresh, preferably with the pulp for me, but for you, if you want no pulp, regular pulp, hope you get all that, man. Me personally, I like the pulp. You know what I do? I do a lot of I like to get the juice fresh. You know what I mean? I like to get it fresh. Like so, there's like a grocery store like about an hour away. We normally go there on the weekends and stuff like that sometimes, right? And what we do is they have an orange juice maker, right? So basically, you just pop the oranges in. It makes you the big old jug of juice, and that's basically what we get, man. You know what I mean? And it's got the pulp in it. I like the pulp. I used to not like the pulp because of the texture, but now I've kind of grown accustomed to it, and I really, really like it. So that's what I do. Mm. Tastes richer with the pulp. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But, yeesh, that's what we got going on right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time loads of scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different. And the early bird gets the cash. Alex says, I'm in New England and I drink a nice coffee all year and wear shorts in the year. Yeah. It doesn't get cold, huh? Yeah, nah, man. I know, brother. I know. But right now it's like 57 degrees out here. I do not know what's going on. They're like, it's going to be warm. It's 84 degrees yesterday. Now it's 55. Now it's 57. But it was 55 earlier. I don't know. I don't know. It gets cold, then it gets hot, then it gets cold again. It can't make up its mind. The weather's a little bipolar there. You know what I mean? A little bipolar. UGRO as of now testing the VWAP right now. It's testing the VWAP as of now. UGRO testing the VWAP and curling off the pennant right there. Can it break the VWAP right there? Let's see what we got going on. Let's see. But yeah. As of now, that's what's got going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Bop right there. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, that's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. All right. AIB just came in. Let's see what AIB is all about. Float is unknown at this time. Volume is 5 million. Has broken above the VWAP, but pulled back a little bit and formed a bit of a double top. But we don't like the double tops. We like the double bottoms. But better yet than that, we like the bottom tails, ladies and gentlemen. The bottom tails. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So as of now, it's on an uptrend, but it needs to just break above that VWAP once again. It needs to stay above that VWAP for it to really be schmexy to me. So AIB broke the pennant, the VWAP, excuse me, not the pennant, the VWAP needs to remain friends with the trend. That's what we got going on. That is what we got going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 600, 600, 600, 600. Actually, you know what? Let's get to 700, 700, because we're already at 600. 600, yes, sir. All right. So, yeah, that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Okay. So, let's see what we got going on here. What about ELAB? ELAB. How's ELAB holding up right now? Yeesh. All right. So, PMGC, which is ELAB, PMGC Holdings Inc., shares are trading higher after the company announced that its subsidiary SVM Machining has completed an international traffic and arms regulations registration, which may further enable SVM to pursue defense and aerospace programs that require compliance with U.S. export control standards. So they got that going on. Also, some unconfirmed Q4 earnings in 13 days on Monday, April 6th, before the market opens right there. So we got that going on right there. It still needs to break above that pennant and still needs to break above that VWAP, though. But it does have some news there. All right, a little bit of geopolitical stuff going on there. All right, ELAB, as of now, ELAB needs to break above that pennant and the VWAP at $5.11 right there for it to be somewhat maxi to mia. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, that's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. All right, boom. There we are. There we are. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 700, 700, 700, 700. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Europe. Let's get it. Let's see what else we got going on here. What else we got? What else we got? PAVS. Let's take a look at PAVS. We haven't checked in on it yet in a while. PAVS. All right. So as of now, PAVS fell below the 61-cent line and then pretty much curled up above it again. Needs to break that 66-cent line right there for it to really be schmexy to me. All right, so it has that going on. It has that going on right there. Let's get rid of this little resistance line there because that one's no longer relevant. We do have one, however, that is right over here at the 63-cent mark. So we got that going on right there. Has resistance at 63 cents. Needs to break that resistance for it to really be schmexy to me. PAVS. PAVS trying to curl right now. All right, PAVS trying to curl. Needs to break the resistance line at 63 cents right there for it to really be schmexy to mia. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 700, 700, 700. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see. As of now, though, it is trying to test it right now. It's at 62 cents, has to break that 63-cent mark right there, and then break the 66-cent mark as well. So we got that going on right there. All right, let's see what else we got here. What else we got? Somebody requested TURB. 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 Turb is choppy. Chop City, not looking schmexy to mya. TURB, Chop City here, a little bit of Chop City over here, a little bit of Chop City over there, a lot of Chop City over here. So TURB, also Chop City, very choppy. TURB, choppy, price action, and low volume, Chop City. All right, that's what they got going on right there. That is what they got going on right there. Bop right there. All right, there we go. All right, all right, all right. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 800, 800, 800, 800. Yes, sir. All right, so let's see what we got going on over here. Let's see what other stonks we got going on here. If you got any stonks you want me to take a look at, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Put it. Put it. Yes. Yes. All right. BATL. Somebody requested BATL. 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 Let's see how it's doing right there. BATL Chop City. Look at that. Choppy right there. Choppy right there. Didn't think I noticed, huh? Choppy right there. A lot of just choppy price action all over the place. Not looking schmexy as well. BATL. BATL. This is an oil company. Oil play. Choppy and sporadic price action. Needs volume. Chop City. That's it. It's just going to be called Chop City. There we go. Chop City. All right. That's what we got going on right there. Chop City. All right. All right. Let's see here. TPET, TPET. See how it's doing right there. We're going to take a look at FEED first. FEED. See how feed is doing. Feed is curling its way on upward. Curling its way on upward towards the higher day. Broke the resistance. Broke the resistance at 214 right there. FEED. FEED broke the resistance and is moving towards the high of day at 227 right there. There we go. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Yes, sir. Woo! Let's get it. There we go. Beautiful. Let's get that share party going on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get the 800. 800, 800, 800. Yes, sir. All right. All right. So, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. All right. Let's take a look at something else here. Let's see. UGRO, UGRO. UGRO is testing the pennant and the VWAP right now. UGRO testing the pennant and the VWAP, so we got that going on, but it is kind of consolidated. UGRO testing the pennant and the VWAP. Slight consolidation. Below the VWAP. So we got to see if it could break that. We got to see if it could break that. It looks like it did. Looks like it broke the VWAP right there. UGRO broke the VWAP. UGRO broke the VWAP right there. That's what we got going on right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is what I like to see. That's good. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 900. 900, 900, 900. 900, 900, 900. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. All right. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. 1 second right there. Let's see. All right. All right. UGRO is testing. Broke the VWAP. All right. Beautiful. All right, there we go. Got that going on right there. Got that going on right there. Beautiful. Had to get that put up there. Boom. UGRO did just break the VWAP right there. Broke the VWAP a little bit. Showed some life there. Showed some life. You know what I mean? So we got that going on. That is what we got going on right there. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So that's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. Let's take a look at ANNA. 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 Let's see how it's doing. Anna's consolidating along the VWAP right now. Still needs to break that pennant right there. Anna's consolidating along the VWAP. Still needs to break the pennant right there. So ANNA. ANNA needs to still break above the VWAP right there. That's what we got going on. That's what we got going on. Still needs to break above the pennant. It just did break above the VWAP, actually. Needs to break above the pennant, ladies and gentlemen. Needs to break above that pennant now. Needs to break that pennant, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 900. 900, 900, 900. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get to 900. Yes, sir. All right, all right, all right. Let's see what else we got. What else we got going on here? 1 second. 1 second. All right. There we go. All right, all right, all right. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what we got going on over here. Let's see what we got. What we got? What we got? Let me add them. Let me add them. Let's take a look at some other stonks over here. Let's take a look at some other stonks right here. Let's see. Somebody requested T-Pat. T-Pat. That's an oil play right there. Oil. 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 Let's see what we got going on here. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's see here. Okay. T-Pat, T-P-E-T. Let's take a look at T-Pat, see what it's doing. T-Pat, T-Pat, T-Pat. Let's see. T-Pat is very, very choppy right now. The price action is either barcodey like this or it's just choppy in general, right? So it's got chop right over here. A lot of volatility and chop right over here. You got chop right here. All right, you got a lot of volatility over here and over here. This stock is generally not very schmexy. As of now, T-Pat. And the reason why it's not very schmexy as of this moment in time is because it's just choppy. I mean, the only thing, right, this is a petroleum stock. It's an oil play. And a lot of these oil plays, the reason why they're not doing so well right now and they're very, very choppy, right? Because they'll pop up, they'll drop down, and they'll just go back down and stuff like that. It's not schmexy because they're not the ones that are actually making the news, right? It's the geopolitical stuff going on, and that's more of an industry thing rather than an actual company thing, right? So the company didn't do anything. They didn't make anything. They didn't develop anything. They didn't get some good news on their own. It's just the industry has news going on, and the industry is taking some rumbles there, and that's it. That's basically the whole show. So that's why T-Pet is not exactly doing too well. It's very, very choppy, very, very sporadic. Very, very choppy and sporadic, basically. That's what we got going on. Choppy and sporadic price action. Chop City. All right, that's it. Chop City. Chop City. All right. So that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, ASNS popped up there. Let's see what ASNS is up to. It has an 8 million float, 5 million volume. Let's see what it's doing. ASNS price spike on low volume right there. That's what ASNS has going on right there. 5 million volume, 8 million float. So as of now, the price spike is on some low volume right there. Looks like it's pulling back a little bit. ASNS price spike on low volume right there. That's what we got going on. Price spike on low volume. So yeah, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Yes sir, yes sir. All right. Somebody requested poet, very very choppy as of now. Very very choppy. Bop right there. A lot of chop over here, a lot of indecisive wicks, as you can see. Very, very choppy. Very, very choppy. Not looking schmexy. Not looking schmexy at all. Not looking schmexy. POET, choppy, and indecisive. Price action needs more volume. A little bit of vitamin V never would do wonders for the stock right there. Chop City. Chop City. Yeesh. So you got that going on right there. That's what we got going on. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 1100. 1100. Hold on one second. Thank you. All right. So let's take a look at FEED. How's feed doing? How's feed holding up? Feed's pulling back a little bit. Nothing crazy. Nothing too nuts. A little bit of a pull back there, but nothing wild. Nothing too crazy here. All right, FEED. All right, needs to break the pennant right here. Needs to break this descending wedge right here for it to really be schmexy to mya. That's what's got going on. FEED formed a tiny pennant off of the original pennant. Needs to break that pennant for it to be so much maxi to mya. There we go. That's what we got going on right there. That's what we got going on. Let's get to 1100, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party. Let's get to 1100, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Let's get to 1100. ELAB, ELAB right there. Needs to break above that VWAP right there. All right. Needs to break that VWAP and needs to break this pennant right here. ELAB still needs to break the pennant, still needs to break the VWAP. ELAB curling slightly. Still needs to break the VWAP and the pennant right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. That's what we needed to do right there. All right, let's take a look at ASNS. How's ASNS looking? ASNS pulling back off that price spike right now. Still has some relatively... The volume is now equal to that of the float, but it still needs some more. You know what I mean? It still needs a bit more volume for it to really be schmexy to me. Right now it's pulling back, has to hold that VWAP. ASNS pulling back, has to hold that VWAP. Has to hold above the VWAP at 49 cents right there for it to really remain somewhat schmexy to mya. But it doesn't look like it's going to do that really quickly right there. Oh, looks like it's bouncing off of it a little bit. Potential bounce off the VWAP. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens there. What happened? You know what I mean? What happened? What happened? All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. There we go. We are just about 10 minutes away from the bell. The bell! It deafens me. Alex says lost 1,500 on E-Lab. Think cooked me on the first green candle on the pullback. Ah, that's a shame, Alex. Don't worry, man. The morning's still early, and there's still plenty of opportunities out there. No FOMO, man. No FOMO. No FOMO. You know what I mean? No worries. No worry. Don't worry. Be happy, brother, man. You know what? It is what it is. No FOMO. You got it. Just got to be patient. Always got to be patient. Sniper. Sniper. You know what I mean? The sniper. That's it, man. You know? Just got to snipe. And snipers, the thing about snipers is they're patient. They're very patient. They wait for the perfect opportunity, right? They get the math and all the knowledge that they got of their target. You know what I mean? They get it just mapped out perfectly. You know what I mean? Just little details, right? Little details. Things of that nature, right? You know, like I guess patterns, right? You know, you keep an eye on patterns and routines, things that the target, i.e., the stunk, ceases to question. You know what I mean? And then once everything's all aligned for you, and once everything is all ready for you, once everything is looking schmexy enough for you, and once you find that perfect little moment in time, you take the shot. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of it. You know what I mean? That it's an art form as well as a science. You know what I mean? Don't worry. Alex says, yeah, I should have waited for a confirmation, but saw green and entered and then went back to red and stayed red. Don't worry, man. It happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of us. Don't worry about it, brother. Don't worry about it. Let's see. RBNE. Price spike on low volume. Price spike on low volume. Don't trust this one really, but you know what? It does have some Q4 earnings unconfirmed, due in 13 days on April 6th, right before the market open.
Self-tender offer to purchase up to 1 million shares.
Ooh.
That's 1 million shares.
1 million shares. All right. Price spike on low volume. That's that. I already don't trust that part. So, I mean, RBNE. It's also an energy company as well. Price spike on low volume with news. Purchase back of 1 million shares. Purchase back 1 million shares. With news of purchase back of 1 million shares. So we got that going on right there. Yep, commencing a tender offer to acquire 1 million of its common stock at $3 a share. Yep. Price spike on low volume with news of purchase back of 1 million shares. Got that going on right there. Got that going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. There we go. There we go. Let's get a share party. Let's get to 1200. 1200 right there. 1200 has a 2 million volume, 7 million float. Still low on volume right there. Again, still on that price spike. But it's doing like its own purchase back of 1 million shares. And to top it off, it does have another price spike going on there. So that is what it's got going on. That's what it's got going on. Very, 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 very price spiky on low volume. I don't trust it. Ladies and gentlemen. Me personally, I don't trust it. That's just me, though. Let's see what else we got. Right there. All right. Let's take a look back at ANA. ANA. Let's see how it's doing. ANA. Let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Still has to break above the pennant. Still has to break above that pennant right there. It has to hold above the VWAP. ANNA has to hold above the VWAP at 680 and break above the pennant right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1300. 1300, 1300, 1300. We're about 4 minutes away from the bell. The bell. It deafens me. All right. About 4 minutes away from the bell. No worries, no worries, no worries. It'd be like that. Somebody requested AIDX. Before we do that, let's take a look at PAVS, see how it's doing. PAVS pulling back a little bit, fell below the support lines. Not looking schmexy right now. Not looking schmexy right now. Needs to break that downtrend. PAVS needs to break the downtrend. All right. And Paranorvis Entertainment Technology shares were trading higher after the company announced that it terminated an at-the-market equity sales agreement with Alliance Global Partners. So they got that going on right there. All right. So PAVS needs to break the downtrend and break above the resistance. Ooh, all right, let's take a look. RBNE moving. All right, let's take a look at RBNE. See what it's doing right there. RBNE, do RBNE. Let's see what it's doing. It's moving its way on up. 43%, 43%. RBNE, 4 million float, 7 million volume, and the volume's starting to increase more and more. RBNE volume starting to increase. All right, volume is picking up a little bit. Still low volume, but it is moving. RBNE still moving on low volume, but the volume is starting to climb along with the price spike. That's what we got going on right there. That's what we got going on for RBNE. Still on that price spike, and the volume looks like it's trying to catch up with it right now. Volume trying to catch up with that float. We'll see what happens, though. Still 4 million volume, 7 million float. So you got that going on right there. That's what we got going on. Yes, sir. 5 million float now. That's excellent. Just needs to keep it going. Needs to keep up being friends with that trend right there. Needs to remain friends with the trend. That's what it needs to do right there. RBNE needs to remain friends with the trend right there. All right. That's what's got going on right there. That is what it's got going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. There we go. There we go. So, as of now, let's take a look at PAVS, see how PAVS is doing in the meantime. PAVS trying to curl off the downtrend a little bit, but we'll see what happens there. PAVS found maybe a double bottom at 57 cents, or 56 cents, excuse me. All right. PAVS, possible double bottom, bounce off support line, testing the downtrend. Gotta keep an eye on that one, see what it does, ladies and gentlemen, but it is still very, very choppy. It has resistance of 58 cents right now, so it has to break above that 58 cent mark for it to really be schmexy to meow. That's what we got going on. That's what we got going on right there. Woo! Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. All right. PAVS breaking the resistance line to 58 cents and climbing. Yes, sir. PAVS testing resistance line at 61 cents right there. 61 cents. Let's see what happens. We shall see what happens with it. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see. Hold back. All right. It's time for the bell. The bell. It deafens me. All right. It's bell time. It's bell time. Ringy dingy. It made the wee woo. Yes, sir. All right. Alex says everything dipped except Anna. Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look and see what we got going on here. FEED. Let's see what it's doing. All right. FEED broke the high a day. Broke the high a day. New high a day formed right here at 239. FEED broke the high a day. FEED broke the high of day. New high of day at, what is it, 239? 239. At 239. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. FEED broke that. New high of day at 239. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Can't break above that. Let's take a look at Anna. A. See how it's doing. Curling. Curling, baby. Curling. Curling right up there. Curling off that pennant right there. Curling off that pennant. Broke above the pennant and shot up. Let's get some support resistance lines for it. Bop right here and bop right there. Needs to break above the 768 resistance line right there. Has to hold above 721. All right, A and an A. A and an A shot up off the pennant. Needs to break new high of day at 768 for it to really be schmexy to nya. That's what it's got to do right there. That's what it's got to do. Bada binga. Bada binga. Yesh. All right, let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 1500, 1500, 1500, 1500. SLGL just popped up right there, but I think it's a low, low float, but even lower volume right there. So SLGL, it's probably going to be low float Chop City. Yep, is Chop City. Look at that. Chop City here and Chop City here. A lot of Chop City. SLGL, very choppy. SLGL, very choppy. Chop City. No. All right. My phone thought I said Siri instead of Siri. Ah, Lord, no, nope. Price spike there, but nope. Don't trust it. Trust it about as far as I can throw it. SMX. What's that doing right there? A lot of choppiness going on over here. And then a random price spike on some low volume right there. SMX. Price spike on low volume. Chop City. Nope. Price spike on low volume. SMX price spike on low volume. Still Chop City. All right, there we go. Let's see about PAVS. How's PAVS holding up? How's PAVS? PAVS, how are you, my child? Well, not really my child. You get the point. PAVS curled off the downtrend. Looks like it's trying to curl its way up and test the 61 cent line. testing that 61-cent resistance line right there. PAVS curled off the down trend and is testing the 61-cent resistance line. There we go. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Bada bing, bada boom. Look at that. Ooh, did you guys, by the way, did you guys see that new Coach Nick Money thumbnail that just released today? Did you see that? I know I saw that. Look at that. Coach got the goggles on. Look at him. Look at him dripped out. He's dripping right now. Look at that man dripping. Ooh. That's what I like. He got the little headset with the little goggles on. Look at that with the llama in the background. The little supply crates too. Ooh, a little flying car behind him. Look at that. He's ready for battle. He's ready for battle. Look at him. Look at him all ready for battle. Look at him. Ah, that's cool. I like that. That's dope. That is dope. I like that. All right, PAVS pulling back. Not looking schmexy there anymore. Let's take a look at ACXP. How's it doing? Price action. It has a bit of a price spike on the low volume. Yes, sir. ACXP. Price spike on low volume as well there. Not looking too schmexy to mya. There we go. All right. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see here. All right. How's Anna holding up? 4 million float, 12 million volume. Anna, let's take a look at it. Anna broke the high of day. Broke that high of day right there. Ooh! Now up to $8.07, up 46%. ANNA up 46%. Broke the high of day once again. Needs to break the new high of day at $8.07 right there for it to really be schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. Woo! There we go. NCRA. A lot of chop over here. And yet again, another price spike on low volume. NCRA, 8 million float, 634,000 volume. I don't trust the stock at all. NCRA, another price spike on low volume right there. Very, 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 very choppy. Choppy. Has to break above the... has to keep remaining friends with the trend because right now it is on very low volume. So not looking too schmexy right there. Not looking too schmexy right there. VCX, what's VCX doing? Let's see how VCX is doing. Chop City, not looking schmexy. Chop City, right there. Right there. Chop City, chop City. VCX, Chop City, VCX, lots of indecisive wicks, Chop City. There we go. All right. What else we got? How's PAVS holding up? PAVS showed a bit of resistance, a little bit of resistance at the 61 cent mark. 61 cents is a significant resistance for it right now. Pulled back below the uptrend there. So PAVS needs to break heavy resistance at 61 cents right there for it to really be so much Mexi to Mia. There we go. That's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. All right. So that's pretty much it for me, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different. And the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on. So be sure to check us out on our YouTube at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of live streaming, lots of video reviews, stock analysis, etc. All right, you can find us there at Coaching Money. We do lots of long form videos, short form videos, all sorts of cool stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So you got all that and more at the tip of your fingers right there on YouTube. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe on there. Ring that bell icon. Stay notified when new videos are uploaded. Remember to share, because that's what we got going on. You can find us on our X.com, aka Twitter, at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of live streaming, stock reviews, and stock analysis as well. Be sure to give us a follow. Be sure to give us a bunch of hearts. Repost it, ladies and gentlemen. Show it some love. You know what I mean? Show it some love. And share our profile with others so that they could get in on the action too. And to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, check out our Twitch at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of live streaming as well. Be sure to follow us there on Twitch. Be sure to follow us there on Twitch and show us some love. And to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check us out on our Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of videos and stock. Well, we do primarily stock reviews and stock analysis there. So be sure to like it up, share, follow us there. All right. Be sure to do all that. All right. Check us out on our TikTok, Tiki Taki, aka the Tac Tac. The Tac Tac. Be sure to check us out there at DBL Nicks. At DBL NICKS. And the screen name is Coach Nick Money. Right, and be sure to check out our shorts there. Be sure to give us a follow on there as well, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our new show, our new upcoming show right now, Power Plays, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check it out, ladies and gents, because that is coming out at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be hosted by the legend himself, Coach Nick Money, as he traverses the stock market and gives his honest review and analysis of the stocks, and basically, lets the people know, hey, this is what I think. This is what I think of the stocks right now. You know what I mean? He takes a look at the stock market, and he basically gives his honest review, honest analysis, and then he goes and gets some dubs for the community, lets some stocks simmer on high heat, and then goes and gets some dubs for the community. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that's what he's got going on. That is what he's got going on. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check that out. All right, that is going to be on our YouTube, our X, and our Twitch at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. It's going to be live on those three platforms, so be sure to check them out. Click the bell icon to stay notified on YouTube. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check that stuff out, because Coach is going to be doing that for a little bit. He's going to be doing that for quite a while there. So you know what? He's even got the new thumbnail coming out right there. The new thumbnail right there, which is schmexy, by the way. It's a schmexy thumbnail. Just saying. It is a very schmexy thumbnail. All right? So you got that going on right there. All right? And to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on right there. That's what we got going on. So be sure to check that out. All right. I'm going to be co-hosting that show as well. So, be sure to pay me a visit and be sure to pay Coach a visit. You know what I mean? All right. And, all right. One quick thing before we wrap up. If you guys have been watching and you're serious about small caps, ladies and gentlemen, don't just sit on the sidelines trying to piece it together. We got a 4-day full access pass for only $9.99, and it's full access. So, ladies and gentlemen, that means what happens is you come inside, you see how we actually operate live and in living color, how we structure our trade ideas, how we map our levels, how we think about risk, how we handle momentum. You guys also get access to our next day early watch list, as well as the 24/7 market news flow, which is on the right side of the screen right here. It is basically a series of different articles, right? article synopsis right here, hyperlink to the whole article right over here, right? And hyperlinks to the tickers that are affiliated within the news within the article right over there as well. So you got that going on as well. So you get hyperlinks to all these things for extra information. It's a wonderful research tool put at the tip of your fingers. Just market news flow 24/7 every day, all day. All right. Just right there at the tip of your fingers, right there. And also, ladies and gentlemen, you get to check out our pre-market, regular hours, and after-hours scanners with the float, volume, and catalyst context built right in, ladies and gentlemen. It's got the ticker, price, volume, float, the change in percentage, whether it's moving up or down, the time in which it was scanned, and hyperlinks so you can learn more about these stocks and get their news, their charts, etc. All sorts of cool stuff. Just click the buttons there, click the little hyperlinks, and bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself even more information and a wonderful research tool. You know what I mean? And to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, you also get access to our ticker tape built to catch stocks when they're starting to heat up, but just before they go parabolic, ladies and gentlemen, because this ain't noise, it's structure. And you also get the little hyperlinks to those as well, so you can learn more about those stocks right there. And if that's how you want to approach this market, you want to approach it seriously, you want to approach it and make some money and do all sorts of cool stuff like that, and also just get some tools that can help you out with that, grab the 4-day pass, come see it live. Links in the description down below as well as the pinned comment section. And when you come in, let us know you saw us on the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know, all right? Because we're going to welcome you with open arms, but we do like to know when our viewers come in and watch us, you know? So that's what we get going on. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell icon to stay notified. Follow us on all of our socials. And to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to keep an eye out for power plays, ladies and gents. Be sure to keep an eye out for it, all right? So, much love. It's Double Nicks. I love you guys. I'm here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Other times she likes to regular ski. Other times she gets shot at the cannon and she goes, wee! Other times she likes to party and go to Arby's and watch videos of puppies and kitties. Other times she likes to go into the stock market and find them ABCDs. Other times she likes to, go and get some Wendy's, sometimes some Mickey D's and other cool things like that. We call her Diva Moms. Hey! That's pretty much it. So, much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. And peace out, ladies and gentlemen. Much love. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you guys at 1:30 p.m. for Power Play.